Do you want some facts about me? I love freaks in wrestling. That's right. It's one of the only professions where you can be nuts and it works, and sports entertainment just so happens to be littered with these monsters. So let's celebrate them as best we can with the 10 best wrestling freaks. Which of course I mean in a positive way. Number 10, Sid. I don't care what you call him, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid. The man ruled. Even during his promos where he gritted his teeth and said he was the master and ruler of the world, he came across as ready to explode. And go and read about his start in wrestling. No one waited around for that guy. He was a main eventer in months, they knew. He also oversold everything, which was an absolute joy. And look at those facials. What was happening, I don't know, but I loved it. Sid was also huge, which helped, and did such a good job in being intimidating, it didn't even matter when his punches were a bit off. Are you gonna tell him? Exactly. It just goes to show that if you are bonkers enough, it will work, so embrace it and be more like Sid. Number 9, Sabu. If you ever find a time machine, make sure you use it to go back to the mid-90s and watch Sabu. You'll also need to have wiped your mind entirely. Honestly, you will go nuts. There was a reason he called himself the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal maniac, because while he didn't attempt murder, I'm pretty sure he was trying to kill himself at times. The dude did not care. Sabu also had this weird aura about him that was impossible to fake, with the freak side coming in the character he put in there. Kind of all ties in though. As people have told us since, Sabu would deliberately botch certain moves here and there to keep the fans guessing. Guy was unhinged. So he was a proper, I have to watch this person because what's he going to do next kind of a guy. And the sheer risks he took were next level. The final result was part amazing and part fear. Even if somebody tried to copy Sabu verbatim, I don't think they could. That tamale was just too unique. Number 8, Brian Cage. I mean, look at him. There's some meat on those bones. Now you could call him a freak based on his physique alone, but that's just the start of it, because despite being a hoss, Brian Cage can fly around the ring like he's half the size. It's such a mad rise because at one point he'll be hurling somebody across the squared circle like they're a child, and the next he's skyrocketing like he's a plane. Really don't give Cage enough credit. He's one of a kind. I'm not sure you can teach this either, because I think it just ties into his agility, and you damn well sure can't teach those kind of genetics. Oh yeah, Brian is an absolute freak, even if his name is anything but. Well, Cage is cool. Brian sounds like some kind of accountant. Still, man rules. Number 7, Scott Steiner. We all know this one. I mean, Scott Steiner used to call himself a freak. He also had this duality when it did come to his freakness because 1, he looked ridiculous. 2, he was absolutely terrifying. Being in the ring or on the mic, nobody really knew what he was ever going to do, including WCW management. During the 2000 madness, Steiner would regularly run down the company because he was upset. Even when he got suspended, who cares? This continued behind the scenes too, as he once tried to tear DDP apart, even though Diamond Dallas Page was just trying to tell Scotty to stop being mean to his wife. He was a terror. This actually does go all the way back to his days with Brother Rick, because go and watch those tag team matches. My word, it was like facing 2 trains who hated the human race. You probably couldn't get away with it today. Number 6, Hawk. We talked about this in another video recently, and all you need to remember is how Hawk used to scream, "What a rush!" Just lost it. There is a sadness to this because it tied into the real-life Michael Hergstrand's personal demons, which did mean he passed away at just 46 years old. It was and is horrible. He did go on this amazing journey though, from being a doorman to a bodybuilder and then full-time wrestler, but with that face paint, the giant shoulder pads, and Hawk diving off the top rope for the Doomsday device, well, all of it was wonderfully bonkers. I think a huge part of this reputation came from how others reacted to him too, and he just felt larger than life. I still do that, well, when I'm walking around sometimes, which is a little strange. It just stood the test of time. Number 5, Randy Savage. Most of Randy Savage's peers described him as a nice fellow who was also paranoid, wired, and easily wound up. The intensity you saw on the screen wasn't a facade. That's what the Macho Man was like permanently. We do need to remember how great he was in the ring and in many ways ahead of his time. Plus, go and look at his ring gear. That guy just got it, and he was perfect for 1980s wrestling. That's why he went as far as he did. Savage was so focused, all of that didn't come across on the TV. But again, behind the scenes, he was so meticulous, he would insist on his opponents taking his handwritten notes and learning a match move for move. That didn't really happen back then. It's such a shame he was never brought back to the WWE after WCW died. He just had so much more to give. It's one of those unanswered tales we're never gonna have answered. Number 4, Bob Holly. So here's that word again, Intense. I suppose Bob Holly just wanted people to respect wrestling. My word, he went about this like a crazy person. Just go and watch Tough Enough, you'll soon understand. I don't think that's kosher. You should also read his book, which is full of nuggets like this, because when management asked what they should do with Bob Holly, he told them he should win the world title and then beat everyone. That was his plan about what to do in the future. You also saw this in the ring as he just terrorized people, which actually continues to this day. The real-life Robert Howard used this reputation to craft an independent career too, and everybody bought it. Of course they did. You just didn't know. So it's quite the journey, given when he first broke into the WWF, he was Sparky Plug the racing driver. Maybe that's where all the other nut stuff came from. Number 3, Rob Terry. I'm not sure where Rob Terry went, but I'll be honest with you. It's fair to say he wasn't the most graceful wrestler, but I'd tell you, TNA really knew what to do with him. Now, if you don't know, Terry was huge. If somebody mentioned to you he was getting ready for a bodybuilding contest, you'd believe it. And because there was a certain manic nature to him, we jumped all over it. Take one of his interactions with Homicide. After the veteran had blasted Rob with a chair, Terry simply shook his head, screamed, and as blood ran down his face, he got ready to kill this guy. And admittedly, there was something badass about it. I mean, the company even dubbed him the Freak, so they must have known. I kind of always thought he'd pop up in WWE, all things considered. Now, that ship has definitely sailed. If you are Rob Terry, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Number 2, Nails. So Nails was a human put in jail by the big boss man. What did he do as soon as he was released? Went and got hired at the same company as his convictor and tried to beat him up. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a surefire way to go back to jail. Eventually, these two had a match at the 1992 Survivor Series where the goal was to take ownership of a nightstick and smack your opponent. Before it got really odd, we teased a feud with The Undertaker. What? Sadly though, we never got there because Nails' true freakish nature came to the forefront. After he fell out with boss Vince McMahon, well, Schultz thought the best way to solve this was to attack the boss for real. Surprise, surprise, he was fired on the spot when he thought he'd get revenge by testifying against McMahon in the infamous 1994 steroid trial. Didn't go very well. Nails made it clear he hated Vince's guts, making him an unreliable witness. Good work. Number 1, Daddy Magic Matt Menard. Do you want to know who is one of the most underrated talents working today? This guy. A perfect throwback in many ways, Matt Menard has this incredible ability to make his eyes pop out of his head when he's trying to make a point, and I tell you, it is great. Plus, he called himself Daddy Magic. Come on. He also plays off Cool Hand Angelo Parker wonderfully, and don't forget these two are Kevin Owens' favorite NXT act. That is not an error. It's also why Chris Jericho wanted to involve them too, and old Hard Nipples can actually turn his hand to anything. He's been doing commentary recently, and he's great. The true skill is that when it's time to cut a serious emotional promo, he can do that as well. So more people need to talk about Mr. Magic, which is why I'm doing it right now. He can be babyface, he can be heel, and he can be a freak. I look forward to him kicking everybody's ass very soon. Now please do click the video on the screen, which is 10 times WWE was pure cinema, to continue your YouTube journey. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And why not go bake yourself a cake? Everybody likes cake, and I think you deserve one. I'll talk to you later.